Hey guys, Steve Washington here. Hope you guys are well. Wanted to touch base with you guys today about this quote from Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio is I think he's pretty much retired at this point. He's a former hedge fund investor, multi-billionaire. Started from middle class kind of upbringing and went on to earn billions. And he wrote this amazing book, one of my favorite books for sure, called Principles, and he shares both life principles and business principles on his form of giving back, if you will, to the community of what he feels like it is to be successful. And in one part of his book, he really goes on and on to talk about this idea of truth, right? And the idea that in order to be successful, you have to operate under like extreme truth, extreme honesty, extreme like reality, right? Being in touch with reality. And he had this quote I wanted to share with you guys. It says that the fastest path to success starts with knowing what is true and what needs to be done with it. So let's take this right to your guys' life, to my life. In other words, what he's trying to say is that there are things that we all say desire to do, be it in our personal life, be it in business, be it in whatever, that for whatever reason, we're just procrastinating and not actually getting done. And Ray talks about this idea of strengths and weaknesses in the book. And there are some things that, hands down, you and I are just incredibly strong in. Like, you wake us up at 2 o'clock in the morning, we could be dead sleep. You wake us up in the middle of the night and say, hey, get up and do this thing, and we can do it. No ifs, ands, or buts. But you can catch us on our best day when everything's sunny and rosy and everything outside, and you ask us to do it, and it's just a struggle. And Ray's like, look, if you plan to be successful, you got to be in touch with those weaknesses, especially because they may stop you and probably will stop you from ever accomplishing what it is that you hope to accomplish. So let's take real estate, for example, in this realm. Some of you guys are like incredible, admin type. Some of you are like incredible, like you can research something to death. You can do all the analytics. You can run all the financials. You can analyze the level of repairs that a property needs. You can, see a good opportunity when you see it and when you crunch your numbers. But the reality of it is you're like, look, but when it comes to that negotiating side, like I'm terrified. When it comes to dealing with people, like, oh my gosh, I get the butterflies like crazy. When it comes to you know, actually going back and forth or whatever it is, that's your thing. Maybe you're the opposite. Maybe you're great at negotiating and you're like, look, just you'll run right to it. But when it comes to the details and the paperwork and inspection and all, like, I think you kind of feel what I'm saying. Like, there's some part of every process that's just the tough part for us, right? And I think that there are some people who are like gifted in such a way where they can do it all, right? And that's a beautiful thing. And thank God for those people. But if you are anything like me, there's some time in any sort of project that you're trying to get done where it's like, this is the holdup. And the challenges, and this is what I want to challenge us in this video, is that if you don't get help, you may never get done. You may never actually have success in that thing. I've got friends and family members and colleagues and things like that, like who just have sometimes just, I don't know. Sometimes I feel tell the truth Tuesday, right? It's Monday. But I'm trying to be like very straightforward here, and I'm not trying to call anybody out because again, I suffer from this. I have suffered from this, and I'm still very much wrestling with it in different areas. But it's just like having these ideas, like talking about what you going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm planning to do this. Planning to do that. I got goals and aspirations to do this and do that. And it's just like, look, one day we all, like, none of us get out of this world alive, right? One day we're going to exit this world and we're going to really see if you really were able to get what you thought you could get done, you know? And I think the reality of this is, bringing it back to Ray's quote, is you have to just say to yourself, like, man, what is my holdup? Like, what am I truly scared of? Like, it's okay. It's okay to be scared of something. It's okay to have like a full-fledged weakness in something. You know, ADHD is like very prevalent in the entrepreneurship world. I have ADHD, right? So it's very, very prevalent in the entrepreneurship world, and ADHD can manifest itself in many different ways. Executive functioning skills can be one of the toughest, the most challenging. And it's like, okay, so if that is your thing, like if you struggle, say with that as an example, then maybe you got to figure out who can you bring in some form to partner with you in some capacity. It doesn't have to be a straight up partner, it doesn't have to be a 50-50 partner, but you do have to acknowledge this weakness that you have. Some of you are like, you know, sometimes charisma and administration don't always go together really good, right? So some of you are like super got all the organization, the administration, you can do all the paperwork, you can analyze, you can do all that. But man, you kind of rub people the wrong way sometimes. You know what I mean? Like you don't always have the best conversations with people. You can't always jive and click with a lot of people. Well, maybe you don't belong in the front line with administration. Maybe you need somebody. Maybe you need a buffer. You know, um, a lot of times when I sell property, right? Um, I know how to sell property. I know how to list property, especially like properties that we own. We can list it ourselves. We can list it on the MLS ourselves and not even use a realtor. Guess what? Oftentimes, I still use a realtor. Why? Because when it comes to that like hard line negotiating where I'm trying to sell something and I'm dealing directly with like say like a buyer's agent, it can get tough. It can get tougher than I care to be involved in, if that makes sense. Like, look, don't get me wrong, I can negotiate, I can do all the things, but I know that sometimes it can weigh on me a little bit, just doing those fine-tuned detail, back and forth negotiating. And I said to myself a long time ago, you know what? I think it's better for me and for the deal to just pay an agent their commission. I'll pay a listing agent their commission just to be a buffer, just to be in the middle of the deal, to make it go smoother and oftentimes even more profitable for us. Get the essence? So that's just an example. I want you guys to think about like what it is that's actually holding you up from doing what it is that you want to do. Maybe it don't have nothing to do with business. Maybe it's got to do with, a weight loss journey. Maybe it's got to do with, building a better relationship. Maybe it's got to do with whatever it is. Like the reality of it is that we can sing this song our whole life about what we gonna do and we gonna figure it out. And you're just trying to, strengthen your weakness, or you can call a spade and say like, look, man, I'm weak in this area. I'm weak. I can't figure it out. I need help. And that's where the success is. That's what Ray Dalio told us. Ray Dalio is a billionaire. And no, $1 billion does not represent all of the positive qualities and attributes of life. But it is a scoreboard, represents something. You know what I mean? So, something positive was happening there. And some explosion of value was taking place in order for that to happen for that man. And I want the same for you. I want the same for me. So let's hold each other accountable. Hope you got some value out of this today. Like, comment, give me pushback. Tell me if you feel this. And look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Take care.